Hello and welcome to another episode of my Beginner's Guide to Evernote 10. And this week it's all about tags, what you can do with them and how you can assign them to your notes. Now, tags essentially are there to help you to fine-tune the way that you organize your notes. It also helps with the search function when you're searching for your notes. So before we go any further, I would just like to say, if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by clicking on that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, and you want to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using the new Evernote 10, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, let me take you into Evernote now and I'll show you all the things that you can do with tags in Evernote 10. Okay, so what we're going to do in this episode is I'm going to introduce you to the world of Evernote tags. Now, if you go down to on the side menu, you'll find that you have your tag button right here. And you can add tags manually by just clicking on the plus there, and you can search for tags as well. But the other way of doing this, and particularly when you're new to this, is you might find that the easiest way to do this is to do it as you're processing your notes. So in my inbox here, I've got 3 articles related to James Bond. And for those of you who've not followed me for a long time, one of my biggest interests is all things related to James Bond, whether it's the books, whether it's the movies, or whatever. I just love the whole history of the James Bond franchise, if you like. So what I've got here is I've got a task here related to Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming was the author of James Bond. He was the creator of James Bond. And I've read all the books related to him. So what I want to do is I'm going to add a tag here. I'm going to call this Ian Fleming because this will be related to any articles I collect or any notes I collect related to Ian Fleming. So I can create the thing by hitting tab, and that's now created. So you just hit the tab and that's now created the tag for that, and you can see in the actual box right here, Ian Fleming, and you can see at the bottom. I've got another one here which is related to the movie No Time to Die, and it's related to the Omega Watch. Now, what I could do right here is I can now add a tag. So I'm going to call this James Bond Films, and I'm going to, Films, hit tab, and that adds the tag. But also this is related to Omega watches. So I'm going to put this one is add another tag, which I'm going to put watches. I do find that I have a little interest in watches. So I'm going to type that. I'm just going to type an additional tag. So what's happening here is, unlike notebooks where a note cannot be put into multiple notebooks, it can only be in one notebook. With tags, you can have multiple tags attached to notes. So I'm going to go down here now to the final one. I've got my tag. I'm going to add a tag here, and this is related to James Bond books. So I'm going to put James Bond books right there, and just got to get the tab, because if you don't get it right, there we go. I'm going to hit the tab to create that, and that has now been created. So let's go now back to my tags right here, and there's now organized alphabetically. I can click on Ian Fleming. This comes up with Ian Fleming right there. Go back to my tags, and I can go James Bond Films. I can tap on that, and all related to the films. And if I go back to my tags again, watches, there you go. I've got the new Omega watch. Now, there are a few other things that you can do. You can manage your tags from this section here. There's 3 buttons there. I can go in and rename the tag. I can create a sub tag in Ian Fleming. So I can create Ian Fleming books, Ian Fleming lifestyles. I can add shortcuts. I can move tags. You can do a lot of things within this section. And basically, if you want to group tags together, you can actually, for example, I can just drag this down to here, drop it on there, and now it's a sub task. So I've got a sub tag right there. That's not that useful because if I click on this here, it only gives me the James Bond books. It doesn't give me Ian Fleming as well. So I've not found that the grouping tags together particularly useful. To drag that out, by the way, if you just drag it out, you can drop it and it'll go to a top level, and there you go. So really, that's all you need to know about tagging, but they can be really useful for when it comes to searching, and I'm going to cover searching in a future episode here. But I can now type in James, and you'll see, as I've typed in James here, that I can now create filters, which we will cover in a future episode. But you can upgrade and get a little bit more powerful, but I'm keeping this really simple right now. But we can see that you've got all my tags relate with the title with James right there, and I can just tap on it, and I can add these as a filter just to be able to fine tune my tags. Again, if I go into here, James Bond, it will do a search and it will pull up all three, because James Bond is obviously related to all three notes. So that's really cool. But we're going to be covering search in a future episode of this particular series. So there you go. That's all you really need to know about tagging. Start getting used to tagging, because they will save you a lot of searching headaches later. And it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week.